Hi everyone, I'm Michael and I am the Kickboxing at Home instructor, and coming very soon we're going to have some pretty cool programs going on for you guys as well, which will be announced by the team over at Albion. Excuse me there. That's not COVID cough, by the way. It's just clearing my throat. But anyway, I want to do some kickboxing lessons over Zoom and also in person and any time I could, just to kind of help out people with self-defense, fitness, and having fun with fitness in general. I find that kickboxing is very fun, and doing combat sport stuff is very fun in general. For me and for other people, they really take a liking to it, and it has just this weird kind of sense of community as you're learning. So it's a great, fun way to stay fit and in shape. Also, I find that with a lot of people stuck at home right now because of the pandemic and we're in unprecedented times, a lot of people are kind of struggling to find a way to actually stay in shape. And hopefully that's where this class will come in. So I'm here to kind of help out with that whole process. Excuse me here, just want to bring this up a little bit. We're going to be doing kickboxing at home, and all you need is your space at home. I got this really messed up couch that I really like, sleeping on sometimes, and I got my messed up bed that I really like sleeping on sometimes. Basically, all you need is this space on your floor. If you have more space, more power to you. Use all the space you can. But I purposely have made it so that we work within a small confine of space, whether it be your room, whether it be your basement, whether it be your kitchen, your living room, etc., where you can still stay fit, stay active, and stay in shape. So today, we're just going to do a little intro thing, and I always say that the first thing you want to do is warm up before we get into our lesson. So, without much more talking in this intro, we're going to get into our lesson. So, make sure you clear up your space as much as you can. Just like my chair here. Put it to the side. Weight scale. Put it to the side. And you start. So, I'm wearing a hoodie because why not? Wear what makes you feel comfortable, but also safe to wear it. Shorts, t-shirt, tank top, whatever, what have you, okay? But it's really improper that you wear the right wear before engaging in any kind of physical activity. Okay, so with that out of the way, what I like to do is just start with a little bit of a jog, high knees, and then after butt kicks kind of thing, and I go 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. So I jog a little bit for 30 seconds. If you like, you can also use your space, right? Using that space. Okay. Right? Maybe go backwards a little bit. Go forwards. Backwards. And forwards. Right? That's what you can do, right? Now we're going to get to high knees, okay? Okay? So, with high knees, right, you want to make sure that your back does not go backwards like this. You actually want like a nice healthy lean, but at the same time you don't want to arch your back, right? So you want like a nice healthy lean forward, and your knees, aim for them to come above your hip level. So what it should look like is, if I were to put my hands like this, it would be every single time. Make sure that we're landing softly when we do these things, of course, and that we aren't hurting ourselves, right? We're landing softly and landing safely when we're doing high knees. So, should look like so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. really keep your core tight when you try these things as well. Flex your core because it gives you a lot more power. Okay, there we go. And now you're gonna do some butt kicks, right? To keep yourself warm. So I like to have my hands around my bum here, but you can not do that. It's up to you, really, honestly. But just make sure that, again, landing softly, because then you're landing safely. And like so. Okay, so now that we've done that, we also want a nice proper stretch. And so you're gonna breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, when we're breathing in, you want to make sure that the air is really going into your lungs. So really open up. So, and then release. Right? Right? Get all of the oxygen in your lungs. Okay? The first thing, obviously, we gotta do is work out the arms and the shoulders. I like to do 2 stretches that usually help me, where we just rotate back and forth like this, make the circle bigger, right? Really helps the rotator cuff, because boxing obviously is very arm heavy. And then we flip our hands so our palm is upwards. Right? Those are the 2 that usually help. That's the one that usually helps me. And then the other I like to do is just have my arm across and pull inward. Because I usually am a bigger guy, and bigger people usually have this problem. They can't always get their arm across. Just helps me get my range of motion going, so I don't hurt my shoulder and I risk shoulder damage in the future. Okay, shake it off. And the other side. There we go. Okay, moving on to the hips. Honestly, a simple round the world with your hips, but really emphasizing every part of your body really helps, right? There's lunges, and there's seal push-ups and things of that nature that you can get into, which we will moving forward, but these are awesome. And you go the other side. Okay. Right. Since this is the intro class, we're not going to get too much in depth with the legs here. But what you want to do is just touch your toes. If you can get past your toes, then try to aim for your fingertips to touch the floor. If you can aim for your fingertips to touch the floor, aim for your palm to touch the floor. If you can do that, right, then really reach down and get a bend going in your elbows, okay? Right, and do that for 10 seconds. You come up, shake off your legs, and then I like to do this, hold like so, right? And that stretches out the hamstring for touching your toes, and your quad for touching your, for bringing your leg into your glute or your butt, okay? If you are having trouble with your balance, this is why a chair or a ledge or a bed really helps you out, or my little table here, right? And you can just hold it down and touch. Okay, other side, shake it off. And other quad, right? You can really feel the stretch here. Okay, right in that quad. Okay. Okay, shake it off. So, since this is the intro thing, I just want to stress a couple things before we get into the lesson. First thing is, you're going to struggle. This sometimes is just not going to pick up the first, the second, or the third time, and that's okay. Okay? But remember that Rome wasn't built in a day. LeBron James didn't become the best player in the world in like overnight. And getting good at something takes time. Okay? And that means that I'll be patient with you if you are patient with this. Okay? I will always be here for questions, and I'll be sure to help you guys out in case you guys have any trouble with anything moving forward. The other thing is that really make sure that you are safe in your space. Do not do anything too over the top if you can't. If you are having trouble finding that space, right, really look into what you could do to get that space, okay? But make sure that you're safe. Now, what we're going to go into, just from an intro perspective, is I find that a lot of people make a lot of mistakes with their punching. So I'm going to go over a couple, actually 5 errors that people tend to have when it comes to throwing a punch. So the first error that I typically notice actually is a very common and it's a widespread error. So just put my chair over to the side. The first thing is that they're not balanced. For whatever reason, they have some sort of balancing issue, and it throws off their ability to throw a punch, right? There's no one right way, to be balanced, but I typically find that the basics and what works for most people tend to give someone a starting out point. So my starting out point was always, I have my feet shoulder width apart, I have my hands to my side, right? Whatever your dominant hand is will stay back, and your least dominant hand will stay in the front. So the least dominant hand will be your lead, and your more dominant hand will be your rear, okay? Which means if you're a right-handed person, you will step forward with your left, and then that's your stance, right? If you are a left-handed person like I am, then you step forward like so, okay? Because there's more right-handed people than left-handed people, I'm going to assume most people would like me to step forward with my left leg first. My less dominant hand will be like so. My more dominant hand will be here, okay? I'm going to pretend I'm right-handed, all right? And then you literally have your hands to your side, resting onto your body, your elbows resting onto your body, and you pick your hands up like so, okay? Now here's where a lot of people mess up. Their feet are too close together or too far apart, okay? They're not on the balls of their feet or are flat-footed and they're not ready to kind of move and get ready, right? And their hands are too low or too high, right? I typically find that when you have your hands too high, you can't see what you're doing. On the same token, this is self-defense, and if your hands are too low, then you can't block or guard yourself against incoming attacks, okay? So I have my hands at my jawline, so right here, okay? Okay, and so that's the first common mistake, right? Because if you're not balanced, you can't throw a proper punch. If your feet are too close together, then you can't get any power, right? And you're going to fall over if you miss, okay? That's the first common mistake. The second common mistake I usually find with people is that they're doing a lot of arm punching, meaning they just throw their punches with their arms, okay? No. So you gotta think of your body as a chain, right? Your left side is all connected together. Your right side is all connected together, right? And that means when I want to throw a punch with my left hand, my left body is connected, right? I twist my hips, right? My shoulder comes right to my jawline. I'm twisting my hips, like I said, but my leg is also twisted, and I'm on the balls of my feet with my left leg as well, right? So that means I'm twisting and I roll back, right? It's a chain. It's on a string together. Same thing goes for the right hand. I throw, my shoulder comes up to my jawline, right? I twist my hips, I'm on the balls of my feet, on my back leg, right? And my knee is twisting as well, right? That's the other mistake people make. It's not arms, it's not just arms, right? It's twisting your body, right? It's a kinetic chain. The left and the right are connected, okay? So that's the other one. Which leads me to my third point, is that a lot of people extend by leaning with their back, right? They want to throw so hard and so long that they lean in and they lift their leg, or they extend too far and they fumble over and fall over, and that's where a lot of unsafe things happen. The extension comes into your shoulder, right? Your shoulder rolls in front of your jawline, right? And you actually get further in. And your feet actually can dictate how far you go, right? So you can actually step, right? You can step, and you can actually even throw punches stepping backwards, like so, to get further away, right? Like so, to get further away, right? Using your feet and your shoulder to get the extension rather than using your back and leaning in is typically where a lot of the problems in people's techniques of throwing punches start, right? You'd be very surprised how everyone does this in their own way. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit just for effect here, but that's the point, right? You want to, right, throw your punches like that. Conversely, you also want to get your butt low, which leads me to the fourth common mistake, right, is that people tend to leave their feet. You do want to be on the balls of your feet and you want to be light on your feet, but you don't want to leave your feet. If you ever feel like you're going to leave your feet, right, you have to then bend your knees. And the more you bend your knees, the more you're able to sit down and generate power in your punches. So if you want to hit harder, you actually sit down lower, right? So, right, versus, right? Even with that movement, you can tell the difference in the power, okay? So those four mistakes. And the last one, which I find is very common, the most common mistake is that when you are throwing punches, you're thinking all attack, no defense. In other words, when you throw a punch, the other hand drops rather than protecting yourself. And you're not Conor McGregor, okay? This kind of punching is not going to work for you at this stage of your development in learning how to defend yourself. You need to make sure that the other hand is up, right? What I usually teach people is two things, right? When one hand is out to play, the other hand is out to stay to take care and protect the house, right? Like so. And the other thing I teach them is to touch your cheeks, right, with your other hand. So literally, I teach people, touch your cheeks and throw and come right back to your cheek, right? Throw, come right back to your cheek. Another thing I also teach them is to shoulder roll, right? So roll your shoulder forward, roll your shoulder back, right? Roll your shoulder back. That's what I teach them. So those are 5 common mistakes in the punching that I usually see with people. And so what your perfect punch should look like, or, you know, perfect punch, there's no one perfect punch, but a good perfect punch should be that you are keeping the other hand up that you're throwing with. I'm going to go in southpaw. I'm in orthodox for this one, or right-handed dominant, right? And you are twisting your hips on the balls of your feet, right? With your other leg, you're rolling that shoulder forward to connect to your jawline in order to protect your jaw, right? You're twisting your hips and you're rolling your shoulder back, okay? And then same goes for the right hand, twisting or rolling back. If I want to generate power, I sit down and get my butt low and bend my knees. If I want to get further, I step forward and twist, okay? And then I follow when I'm retracting. So, right? Like that. Or if I'm going backwards. Like that. Okay? So, that was the 5 common mistakes to throwing punches. I'm Michael. Hopefully you join us for some of the big things we have planned when it comes to learning kickboxing. And until next time, see you soon, hopefully. Later, guys.